There we go. I thought we were missing something there, it didn't look right. So here we are in Trashigang, up in the Himalayan mountains. We're about 120 miles from Paro, so we're not that far away. However, there's a lot of terrain in between where we are and where we're going. So let's get the checklists out and get the aircraft fired up. So park and brake is set, seatbelts are fastened and secure, gear selector is down, throttles are idle, propeller controls are now full forward, mixture is idle, cowl flaps are open, the fuel selectors are on both sides, radio master's off, electrical switches are off, and the prop sync is also off. So alternators on, battery master on, anti-collision and beacon lights on, gear lights we have 3 green, and propeller controls are set to high RPM. So engine number 1, mixture control is full rich, throttle is full open. We'll run the fuel boost pump. So that'll do. Throttle is closed, open 1/4 inch, and magnetos right, left, both, and start. So we will check the oil pressure, which is in the green, alternator load is also in the green, and no warning lights. So same again for number 2, mixture controls full forward, throttles full open. We'll run the boost pump. That'll do. Throttle closed, open 1/4 inch, magnetos right, left, both, and start. Oil pressure is in the green, alternator load is in the green.
Mic off. Mic on.
So we're all good. Right. Let me just check something. In Trashigang. Right, cool. I wasn't sure if my microphone was working there because I don't have any microphone feedback. Okay, so let's continue on with it. Avionics are on. Let's see if we get the weather here. I don't think we will. Alright, so there's no weather. What we can do is we can talk to Calcutta Centre, and we have filed a flight plan for this flight, so we'll talk to them and get our IFR clearance.
Calcutta Centre Beechcraft Golf. Mike Alpha Romeo Kilo IFR to Paro ready to copy.
Beechcraft Golf. Mike Alpha Romeo Kilo is cleared to Paro Airport as filed. Climb and maintain flight level 180. Departure frequency is 120.1 squawk 2036. Clearance point 30 minutes from now.
So we've dialed in 18,000, which is our initial clearance.
Mike Alpha Romeo Kilo cleared to Paro Airport as filed. Climb and maintain flight level 180. Departure is 120.1 squawk 2036. Clearance void 30 minutes from now.
Beechcraft Alpha Romeo Kilo read back correct.
Right. So that's taking care of that. Altimeter is set to 992. Transponder is 1200 and transponder is now set to 2036. Fuel selectors are to crossfeed. Oh, fuel selectors crossfeed. Taxi light is on. Oil temperatures are good, and we'll check the brakes as we taxi out. So we got no wind data, we got no nothing. And we don't even have the ability to push back. This is going to be awkward. Huh.
Victor Quebec 10 traffic Beechcraft Golf. Mike Alpha Romeo Kilo is taxiing to runway 12.
So we're going to taxi out to runway 12, but how are we going to do this? I know. I think we'll have to. I wonder if it will crash me if I just pile through the. We'll find out. This could be the shortest flight ever. I think it's going to make me crash when I hit these things. Alright. So it didn't crash me. So that's good. Aircraft doesn't want to turn. Alright, so we said we were going to use runway 12, which is this one over here. So we'll stop short, we'll run through the before takeoff checklists. So we're at 8,500 feet, so we better bring the mixture back. So type of takeoff, just a normal standard takeoff. There's no SIDS on this one. Flaps are retracted, fuel boost pumps are off, anti-collision lights are on, beacon is on, landing lights on, transponder is 2036 as given by ATC. Mixtures, I've leaned it out. Autopilot is off, yaw dampener is off, cowl flaps are open, and ice protection. Actually, we better put the windshield heat on because it's probably going to get a bit cold, and we have the pitot heat on as well. So let's we're going to head to the west.
Victor Quebec 10 traffic Beechcraft Golf. Mike Alpha Romeo Kilo taking off runway 12 departure to the west.
So there's nothing on the runway. There's no ATC here, so we'll just do our own thing. So we're using real world weather, and the only thing is I advanced the local time by about an hour or so, otherwise it would have been pitch dark, and this flight is already going to be challenging enough without knowing if I'm going to crash into a mountain or not. So, bit of a steep. Oh. Let's hope that we've got a little bit of runway to play with at the end of here. This is interesting. I'm going to do a bit of differential braking here to get the aircraft to turn. Otherwise, I'm going to fall off the end of the runway. Alright, so let me just check one last thing.
Mic feedback on.
So that's better, now I can hear myself. Right, okay. So looks like there's a little bit of an issue as well with the runway markings on this airport. So let's work out what we're going to do after departure here. There's a lot of clear space over to the left. So after departure we're going to make a pretty sharp left turn and start climbing out of here. So I'm going to keep my feet on the brakes as well, and we will increase the power. Gears up, and we better start that sharp left turn. We'll make it quite a wide arc and turn so that we are able to pick up a bit of altitude. Okay, so reduce the RPM down to 2600. That's as close as. So we'll take advantage of this open space. So climb checks. Prop is at 2600 RPM, full power, gears up, trim set by the autopilot, yaw dampeners on, cowl flaps closed, fuel boost pumps are off, landing lights and taxi lights are off, and we will start turning back towards our course. So we start a left turn to the south. Airport that we just left is just over there on that hill. Tracking back towards the airport, which is just down there, and our flight plan is going to take us over to the right, and it looks like it's pretty clear enough in that direction. So once we come up on the course, we'll select nav mode. We are using GPS navigation this time. We have a low altitude airway programmed into the autopilot. I will. So the needle is kind of centering, so we will select nav hold. So this is the flight plan here. We are starting on the right hand side of the page there at Trashigang. We're going to be flying the Yankee 3 airway to the west. First waypoint is called Radhi, R-A-D-H-I, and then we're going to continue on towards Paro. So that's the flight plan, and the aircraft is now centering itself on the airway. Passing 15,000, we've got 5,000 feet to climb. The airfield elevation where we departed was at 8,000 feet. So and this is the Himalayas that we're flying in. So I installed earlier an updated version of the Garmin G1000. I had a little play around with it earlier. Did some touch and goes around Glasgow. There's some additional features in this, but it's a work in progress, so I'm gonna have to probably learn as I go along what it's capable or otherwise of doing. So on the right hand side there is our flight plan. We are 26 nautical miles from our next waypoint, and the computer estimates it's another 9 minutes 9 seconds until we get there. And we're passing 16,000. We got 4,000 feet to climb, and as I say I copied this flight plan from, or flight and routing from real world Druk Air, who fly this in the ATR. And the last time they flew this route, it was filed and flown at 20,000 feet. So, alright, I'm going to make a little bit of an adjustment on the climb rate. The certified max altitude for the Beech Baron is around about 21,000. I think it's 20,700 feet. So we will be operating at the edge of this aircraft's envelope. Morning in the Himalayas. I think real time is about an hour behind where we are just now. I did advance it by about an hour or so, just so that we would have daylight. One thing I forgot to do, I forgot to set up, so option 3 on the winds. We got very little wind. Okay, so everything's good there. Alright, 18,000 feet, so we can now set a standard barometric pressure of 2992. So, once we reach cruising altitude, we'll have a little look at the approach chart. Very, very unusual chart for this very dangerous and rather unusual approach into Paro in Bhutan. So we've got 1,000 feet to run, just passing 19,000. We're just coming up on 19,000. We've still got a climb rate of 600 feet per minute, so that's pretty damn decent for an aircraft this size at this altitude. again, maybe a little fault with flight sim, but the Himalayas look pretty green for this time of the year. I would imagine there'd be a lot more snow. Maybe I changed the season, I don't know. Or maybe it's just a quirk of flight sim. Either way. Okay, so that's us at 20,000 feet. I'm just going to have a little look on the flight plan page. Tashi PR 784 RNAV X-ray. Alright. So, okay, cool. So we're flying a Tashi 1 star. Let me open the charts here. So this is the standard terminal arrival chart. We'll be approaching from the very top right of the page at Tashi. Then the next waypoint from there is Papa Romeo 784. Then it's Golf Tango Sierra Hotel Oscar, and from there we will look for the approach chart. So we're flying the RNAV Zulu. So that starts at Papa Romeo 816, which is just to the north of the field. So once we get a little bit closer in, we'll be able to work out where the approach is going to take us. I don't normally fly RNAV or GPS navigation, so I could be a little bit rusty. Right, let's have a look at. So we're now cruising. We have a ground speed of 176 knots. We have a very slight headwind. We're at 20,000 feet, and we have just passed our first waypoint, Radi, and we're now heading towards the next one, which is Dadon, and that's just under 15 nautical miles away from where we're at. Right, so trying to make some sense of this chart here. GTSHO, 17,500 feet. That takes us towards 852, 850, 820, 724. Okay. So the final approach fix is Papa Romeo 816. We need to be at 13,800, then we step down from there to the right. Okay, so I've now made sense of the chart. I'll open it up and we'll have a look. So, taking this side of the page for a start, we are going to be arriving from the right hand side of the page, just off the page in that white box. The initial approach fix for us is Golf Tango Sierra Hotel Oscar. So we're past that waypoint at 17,500 feet, and then the aircraft will follow the route that takes us over Papa Romeo 854, 852, 850, 820, 724, 826, 728, 730, 799, 818, and when we reach Papa Romeo 816, which is right at the very top left of the page, we need to be at 13,800 feet. We then start a 3.5 degree descent towards Papa Romeo 814, continuing that descent down to Papa Romeo 812, which is 4.2 nautical miles out. Papa Romeo 810 at 2.2, and hopefully down to landing on runway 33. So the missed approach is to climb to 16,000 on the RNAV missed approach, which is programmed into the autopilot. That's on the right hand side of the page. So if we have to go missed approach, basically we will climb to 16,000 and follow the pattern on the right hand side of the page, and then turn round and try again. So hopefully that doesn't happen, but you never know. This is a pretty challenging approach, both in real life and in the simulator. So we'll have to see how it goes. So we're now headed from Dadun to Tashi. We have just under 30 nautical miles to reach Tashi, and from Tashi I think we then head towards our top of descent, and we'll start descending down to 17,500 feet at the initial approach fix of Golf Tango Sierra Hotel Oscar. Dial in 17,500 into the mode control panel just now. Don't need to change it at the moment, but normally I don't fly using this method of navigation. I normally fly using ground-based navigational beacons, which you manually tune to. This is a more precise method of navigation, using basically GPS. Just hit on a little bit of an updraft here. We just smashed up by about 100 feet. Starting to see some clouds in the area as well now, so that's a bit ominous. Let's just check on the winds. We now have a 33 knot headwind, so that's slowed us down across the ground quite a bit. We've now got a ground speed of 153 knots, and it's a little bit bumpy. We're now 200 feet below. So we went up about 100 feet there and then down by 300 feet. And hey, look, the mountains got snowy all of a sudden. So it's all a bit mad up here in the Himalayas. We went from clear skies and grass to windy and snow on the ground, just like that. Ultimate realism. We did start the flight by driving through a fuel pump. So now this is a bit interesting because this wind's jumping about and causing us to pitch up, and like I say, we are operating pretty much on the edge of the envelope with this aircraft, so we can't afford to be losing too much airspeed. We just had a very brief stall warning there. So apart from our little bouncy escapade, everything seems to be in norm. So we got 18 nautical miles to reach Tashi, and quite shortly after that we will start our descent. Just having a look to make sure that we're not accreting any ice, which we're not. Outside air temperature is minus 24 degrees C, so quite chilly. Thankfully there's not much humidity in the air, otherwise we might start icing up. We'll need to be careful of that though once we start descending, if we start descending through some of these clouds. So I forgot to check in with ATC.
Calcutta Center Beechcraft Golf. Mike Alpha Romeo Kilo is at flight level 200, descending flight level 180.
Beechcraft Golf. Mike Alpha Romeo Kilo, you have exceeded your clearance point time. Our flight plan is cancelled.
Alright, well, she's not happy, but that's cool. We'll just continue on anyway. Normally fly using Flight Sim's ATC, as it can be a little bit rubbish. We'll just do our own thing and make our own way to Paro. The default ATC may have asked us to deviate from from our programmed route, and that wouldn't be very wise. So we'll continue with doing our own thing. So 159 knots across the ground now. Winds must be easing off ever so slightly, but they're pretty strong on the nose. That'll slow us down just a little bit. Don't know if we ran through the cruise checks, but I'll just quickly flick through them. Prop is set to 2600 RPM, power is full throttle, trims are set by the autopilot, fuel boost pumps are off, cowl flaps closed, heading indicator, well, we're using GPS navigation and we're tracking towards Tashi, and we have window heat and pitot heat for ice protection. We have no ice, so we have no need to de-ice. Right, so we are 5 nautical miles from Tashi. I'll zoom this map in a little bit here. Oh, what have I done? Aha! So upon reaching Tashi, we'll make a very slight turn to the left towards Papa Romeo 784, which is our last waypoint before the final approach fix, or the initial approach fix, sorry, of Golf Tango Sierra Hotel Oscar. Paro.
Paro Tower Beechcraft Golf, Mike Alpha Romeo Kilo Tree 5 miles east, flight level 200 to land.
Beechcraft Golf, Mike Alpha Romeo Kilo Paro Tower. Altimeter tree 0.06, wind 000 at 7. Enter left base runway tree.
Enter left base runway tree Beechcraft Alpha Romeo Kilo.
Okay. So Paro are expecting us, which is good. And it is runway 33 that's in use, which is good because that's what we've programmed the approach for. So we're not far from the top of the descent, and we'll make our way down to 17,500 feet. We've got 37 knots from out of 312, so we're 20 degrees offset, 23 degrees offset here, just to maintain our course towards the next waypoint. We're coming up on the top of the descent about now, so we'll start our way down to 17,500 feet. I'm not going to worry about the throttles because we do have a bit of a headwind, so if we pick up any speed on the descent, that's just going to benefit us. A little bit bumpy as we make our way down. Alright, so we got about 5 miles to reach the initial approach fix, and we have just under 1,000 feet to descend. Some pretty big chunks of rock surrounding us here. Let's just hope that this GPS is good. So the altimeter setting given by the airfield was 3006. We have 3006 dialed in, and we are at 17,540 feet. So that's good. So Papa Romeo 854 is the next one, 2 nautical miles after, and then it should be 852. So let me just check the flight plan. Okay, so we cocked up a little bit there. We're just going to do a little orbit, come back towards the initial approach fix. For some reason, the wrong flight plan, or the wrong approach was programmed in. I thought there was something looking a bit wrong on the on my nav map, so there wasn't an option to select another fix to commence the approach from, so we're going to spin round back towards Golf Tango Sierra Hotel Oscar, and we'll pick up the approach from there. So that's it, back on track. So the next waypoint is Papa Romeo 854, sorry, 754. Flying the RNAV Yankee approach, which has us on the top right hand side of the page there. So we're now tracking towards Papa Romeo 754. We need to descend down to 15,700. Descending, and this approach will take us over the top of the field, then round to the south and back up through some other valleys. So we're getting a little bit behind the aircraft here, so we should start paying attention to what we're doing. So 15.7 at Papa Romeo 754, which we've passed. Papa Romeo 752 is this same altitude, so better a little bit high than a little bit low here, which is certainly so we should be able to see the airport at some point as well, somewhere down in the valleys beneath us. I think it's down there somewhere. be up here, is it? Right, so Papa Romeo 792 or 752. 752 is almost directly above the field, so it's the next valley that the airfield is in. So if we set ourselves up from top view, so there's the airport down there, just off the nose of the aircraft. So we're going to cross over the field, make a left turn. So we've got to check the charts. So 752, maximum speed of 185 indicated. We've got 150, so we're all right there. And then it's a descending left turn down to 13,800. So 13,800. So there's the airport down there. It's a little bit snowy. About a mile from the turn, almost directly overhead the airport. So the next waypoint should be Papa Romeo 750. That is correct, so that's us turning towards 750. So we'll start our descent to 13,800 feet. Come back on the throttles a little bit. So that was another mistake nearly made there. Next descent was 15.4 before the 13.8. However, we caught it in time. So in 2 miles we can descend down to 13.8. Next waypoint we can descend down to 13,800. So that's the one that we want. So let's get down pretty quick to 13.8. just about made it there. So 13.8. Alright, so we need to be down to 12,600 for our PR728 is the next waypoint. So that's 3.7 miles. We have to stay at this altitude for that. Lose your engines around here or lose your position. So 728, we stay at this altitude and then make our way down to 12,600 for the waypoint after that. Speed. So next point is 724, that's fine. $13,100. Things happen pretty quick here. So that's us leveling off at 13.1. Next waypoint is 12.6. So 12.6, and then we start the final approach from 11,800. Six, 11,800. Okay. so we can start making our way down now to 11,800. Okay, so in range checks, we got the weather, altimeter set, ice protection is on, cowl flaps are now open, fuel selectors are on, boost pumps are off, and landing lights are on. Careful with our speed here. So 712, 11,800, that's us coming up on it now. Right. So this is where we start our descent, final descent towards the field. Next waypoint is Papa Romeo 710, which is just around this corner in this valley on the left. Start slowing the aircraft down a little bit. And we will configure for landing early. So gear down and set approach flaps. We're almost there. So I'm visual with the field. It's just over that ridge to our right.
Beechcraft Alpha Romeo Kilo, wind tree 57 at 7. Cleared to land runway tree.
So we're cleared to land.
Runway tree Beechcraft Alpha Romeo Kilo.
So I'm going to disconnect the autopilot before it kills us. There's two valleys that you can approach runway 33 at Paro from. I think the other one that I originally thought I was set up for was the one on the other side of this hill on our left. If I remember rightly, when I've watched videos of aircraft landing at Paro, actually I could be talking shite, so let's concentrate on what we're doing here. Go full flat. think normally the aircraft come in around a series of bends that don't bring us over this hill. There's a valley just, I think, on the left. Could be wrong though. So we did it. We made it. Wow. That was pretty intense, even considering that it was a RNAV approach.
Beechcraft Alpha
Right.
Romeo Kilo exit runway when able.
So let's exit the runway before we run through any checklists. Now, there's a yellow line that looks like it's going to take us into the snow there. Maybe the taxiway is just covered in snow.
Beechcraft Alpha Romeo Kilo turn next taxiway.
Right.
Beechcraft Alpha Romeo Kilo contact ground on 120 decimal tree.
No problem.
120 decimal tree, Beechcraft Alpha Romeo Kilo.
Okay, so let's see if we can find a little Marshall man. There's one up there. He has to be in the tightest spot to reach though. Right. We start turning towards him now. There we go. Okay, so park and brake set. Right, let's run through the after landing checklist. The flaps are up, cow flaps are open, landing and taxi lights, well, we can turn all of that off now. Ice protection is off, and we can run through the shutdown. So throttles to 1000 RPM. Kill the fuel. We can turn all our lights off and take a little look around us before we exit the flight. So here we are at Paro Airport. I'm pretty sure that the other approach would have brought us in round. Let me just quickly go back to the. So this is the approach that we flew. We basically arrived at the top right hand side of the page, crossed over the airfield, made a left hand turn, descended down through the valleys, continuing to turn to the left, making a turn through a valley and a right turn onto final. So that was the RNAV Yankee approach for the airport. Possibly, hang on, that's the Zulu. So I was completely mistaken. That would have brought us in from the other side. That would have brought us in over runway 15. It does say on the chart that it's for either or. Let's have a look at the last one. Yeah, so I was talking absolute bollocks when I said that I thought that there was another approach coming in over a different valley. There is, but that would be approaching from the opposite side, from the north. We approached from the south. However, we made it in one bit. We live to tell the tale and fly another day. So that's all for now. Good night.